this morning live. I'm going to share this just so that some of my content can be shared. I get shadow banned a lot, so I've been told by a lot of people that when I put it out myself, it's a lot easier for you guys to get the content. And as long as I try to inform everybody through my website or through my YouTube page, some of you will be able to find the content that might not have been able to. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Once some of you get in here, I'll say hello to everybody and acknowledge. And we'll try to get on the same page. Sir Smokes a lot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Armory for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Shane, welcome in, friend. I'm glad to see you in here this morning. We got a lot to talk about. We have escalation in the Israel and Iran war last night, which both sides fired at each other. So that's not a good sign for risk. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if we can support ourselves and fix this. But having that happen in risk assets while simultaneously having gold spike just over $40 last night, which gold's still up about $41 an ounce. Silver's down about 0.5%. The miners haven't really done anything. Hecla's up 1%. First Majestic is down about 1%. Fortuna's down about 0.87%. B2 Gold's up 1.89%. Barrick Gold's up 2.2%. While gold's up 1.25%. The U.S. dollar is slightly up about 1/3%. Stock market's getting hit a bit, down just over 1.25% or 540 points. Bitcoin's back under 105K. So should be an interesting start to the morning. Hopefully you guys will hit that like button and share this, because based on my title, not a lot of people are going to want to click on this. So please help me push this along. And let's try to get people in here so that we can stay out ahead of this current flow. It's just that simple. Crypto Cooter, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Papa Lou, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on there, so I know it's your first month. Rally, welcome in. Mark Caston, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Much appreciation. Papa Wheelie, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. The Gatman, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Jorge, good morning, and welcome. It says, hello, people. Hello, Tom. Hit that like button and consider subscribing to Tom's channel for the best technical analysis on YouTube. Greatly appreciate that, my friend. And thank you for not only being a very trusted mod, but being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Frankie Fresh, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. So I thank all of you. Crazy Pole, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. FlexRP, welcome in, good morning to you. Thank you to the over 44,000 subscribers, as we went over 44,000 today, which is unbelievable. And there's 44 people in here. So I know we're getting shadow banned on this live. So be pretty interesting to see how they push this content out, because it's been pretty shaky at best with the algorithm here lately. So could definitely use your help in hitting that like button and trying to circulate this around YouTube, because it's getting pretty difficult to get my content around, if I'm being honest. So if we get into this, we've got XRP right now sitting at $2.14. We found ourselves in a dangerous, momentous point, because XRP fell down below the fair value gap yesterday at $2.22. We found ourselves falling below right around and we'll see it in real time just so we can stay on task. In real time, right around $2. I guess we're still over technically in real time, because you could take it down to $2.10. So at least we're over that $2.10. Sean Crothers, welcome in, my main man from Maine. Glad to see you in here, friend, and thanks for being a very trusted mod. Metal JJ, good morning. Wales, Josie Wales, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Dirty Dozen, welcome in. Love seeing everybody in here. So yesterday I said, even though I have 43,900 subscribers yesterday, that not one person's ever where I live has come up to me and said, hey, aren't you XRP future millionaire? Well, that changed yesterday. It turns out somebody that lives, what was his name, Julie? Richard?
I don't remember.
Think
it was so like...
Yeah, it was random, but me and Julie were walking outside last night about 9 o'clock, and someone stopped in front of our cars. Very nice couple. I don't think they really knew how to approach or say hi. So what if I wasn't the person they thought I was? Dressed very nicely. You could tell they're very successful, driving a very nice car, and they just happened to live in the back of my subdivision. And they stopped, and he's just staring at me, and me and Joe, I'm like, I didn't, I'm very safe, so like, I'm very like, I'm independent, so I don't really expect people to stop. So he stopped, and he said, blah blah blah. Seen some videos, seen you when you took a video out by the main road, and I know it's you. You're XRP future millionaire. I was like, yes, I am. And he went over a big story and stuff, and it was pretty interesting to meet somebody who watches me that happens to live in my subdivision. So it's man, it was pretty interesting. So it was nice to be recognized, but at the same time, it's kind of surreal, So Dirty Dozen, welcome in. Jane, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that's my face superimposed on that emoji badge, so I know it's your first month. Did James fall behind on his rent this month? I don't know. I had to put a metal fence around my garden because somebody was getting into it. So, I don't know. You can ask James. He's in here now. Look at that. Good morning, James, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Tom moving on up to the deluxe apartment. That's right. Got to do it somehow. Sean said, I don't want them to shadow ban you. I don't know how to correct that, but everyone's... The only way to correct it is to follow me on Telegram so you can get my content and come right to YouTube, so that you can see when I put all of my stuff. Because if you're not seeing it on YouTube, which a lot of people aren't, they'll find it eventually, but a lot of people are not. So I put my content links out for everything. Like even on the way to the gym, I did a short this morning, but I put the content out for everything. So whether they shadow ban me or not, you'll find it. So good morning. 11:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, June 13th, 2025. I'm XRP future millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So the only good news about right now is technically we've not back tested the drop at that failed FVG at 222. So now that we've tested this 2.0 in real time, let's come down here. We've tested down here at 209. That's the pattern breakout back test in real time. If you go way back here, yeah, it was way up at 230. Then right here it was at about 215. Well, now in real time, it's at about 209. So the breakout of XRP is still back testing. We haven't given it away, but now we could find ourselves in a scenario where we come back up to this 218, 222 area and get a firm rejection. And that could be the signal, or at least that finite moment to where, we could get that bearish signal here. So that's what I'm trying to see this morning on this Friday morning. See if we do get any kind of play out here to where this was a fake out to the downside, or if this gets completely invalidated. The fear here is if it gets completely invalidated, we're going to go down to that $1.50 at the bottom of what looks like a descending triangle, or I suppose you could call it a descending wedge, as it's getting smaller as it decreases, but it does look like more of like a descending, whatever you want to call it. And then the reason why it becomes kind of interesting is because then you start to back test. If you come down below $1.96, you end up right back into what I determine a distribution box, which that can bring you all the way down to $1.34, which would make sense even down there because that's the back test of the initial part of the cup and handle breakout. So is it unthinkable? Actually, quite the opposite. I think that $1.50 for XRP is very much on the table. I also think for Bitcoin, and it's not guaranteed because if we can power out of here, it could be a very interesting squeeze back up. If we lose the 200-day and the 4-hourly, it's not a good sign. We're coming back up to see if we get a rejection. It could come as high as, for Bitcoin, 107,000 for the rejection, now that we fell back inside. And then I think, and Nick knows, I don't think Nick's in here right now, it's early, but there is a fair value gap on Bitcoin around 91K. And I've drawn this out a while ago that this inverse right shoulder, it makes a lot of sense to come down right around that 70K area. So it does seem to make a lot of sense to have this play out here. In my opinion, it looks like we could have a nice moment here We have a breakout of the cup and handle. The technical target's around 123, 124. If we back test this breakout and this inverse right shoulder forms, that brings our technical target up much higher. You know, you're talking about coming somewhere up in the 147 to 150 range. So it does bring us up much higher if we do this properly. Now, the escalation in war with Iran and Israel is definitely something to take note of. But these can be back tests of the breakout that we just had. So we need to see if we're going up for that rejection or we went down for validity. So it's actually a very tough call. The only thing that kind of gets me rubbed the wrong way here as well is the fact we're heading into a weekend. We know the weekends are thinly traded. So if we have any kind of negative impact, any kind of worse news that comes out during the weekend, this could certainly send us down. And with Ethereum down below the wedge, down below that 2,600 and some change, came back and touched the 200-day in the daily though, so that's not always a horrible thing. But if we stay below right now in real time $2,650, we've got problems. And this would bring us down somewhat. It'd be a somewhat big drop, but right now we still have the golden cross in the daily. So like I said from the beginning, we've got to make sure that this isn't going to fall apart, because even if it comes down, my expectation was it would only come down somewhere near 2,100. Now it could come down and break this pattern and come all the way to 496 or even farther on the gaps that are well below, but we don't need to go there yet. We just need to be understanding of where these setups are at. So as long as we understand, for the 73 of you that actually came in today, despite this very bearish or this the overall bias of bearishness now with what's happening, we've been talking for the last 2 weeks about something doesn't feel right here. With the way the charts are going, I'm expecting some unexpected news to develop here, which happened yesterday, which I don't know if we can say it's unexpected, but it's a development we didn't have days prior or weeks prior. So if this continues in that way, you know, this is certainly going to do something. Like if you look at something else, and I don't know where my oil is at, my WTI crude. We had a bit of a movement last night, and that's something that, you know, to me, that's something to watch out for. You know, it's a reason to be like, okay, something's definitely going on here. There's no reason for it to bounce up this much for no reason. I mean, it's up to $72.91 a barrel, up 5.94% on the day. So definitely have some movement here in the last day. Looks like a nice little recovery here. So we'll see if this pans out. But it looks like our gas prices are going to go way up here in the short term. We could definitely have a severe spike. Like I said, with gold, it went up initially. Silver right now is trying to figure it out. So the gatekeeper right now, I mean, we could back test 34.24, but if we break out from here without having to back, we're going to come up to 39.50 and then figure it out. So gold seems to be indicating something could be coming. Silver's got that nice, what looks like inverted hammer. I would be paying attention to these mining stocks. Back in, let's see if I can find it. Who knows if I'll be able to. I never know. Because now we have to go back to December, and I put out so much content that it might be difficult to, what are we, 6 months later now? It's crazy. I can't believe how far we've gone. Look at, you see the difference in views too when XRP was rising? When we were having big rises, everybody wanted to watch. And then I started talking about, look at 5 months ago, why I sold 75% of my crypto and turned focus to gold and silver, and then it was mining stocks, as you know. And then I said, will the rug be pulled on Christmas? It actually happened before Christmas. But I talked about that, and that was right after. And then I put again, I tried to warn everyone I sold 75% of my crypto days ago. And that was right before. And now look, we go bearish. And it happens every time. Look at the view differential. We go bearish, half the people fall off. You know, they fall off the cycle. They come back and they're down 75%, 60%, 50%. And I flipped 6 months ago, or 5 months ago, almost 6 now, into gold, silver, well, in mining stocks. I already had gold and silver. But when I made that call back in December, gold's gone up 31%. Silver, and there was a reason why I talked about the rotational flip. Silver has gone up. Gold 34, silver 25. Mining stocks. So if you just look at Pan America and then all these other ones, you can see from December, we've gone up a nice amount. In December to now, 43% on Pan America. First Majestic. And I'm going to show you the reason why I'm showing this. Because when you can recognize rotational tugs, this is up 50% since that time. Barrett hasn't moved much. Barrett's going to be well, it's still moved up, though. That's the thing. It's still come up some from December. It's just not crazy. Well, I mean, it's still come up 37%. So now you're looking at, differentials where you're talking about 37 to 50% in mining stocks here. And it's pretty spectacular. B2 Gold is up to $3.80 now. And since December, you're talking about a 64% move on B2 Gold. Now, let's turn that into I transferred out of so many different things. Now, let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not that bad from December. Bitcoin's the exception to the rule. Well, I mean, it's still not peak, but it's basically even, right? Only a few percent down. But now look at the rest of altcoins. Look at the rest of altcoins from there. So flipping from there to mining stocks, and no matter where you look, let's say even if you go from here in December, because we had the one peak up, if you go from December, this is down 27%, 25% from the peak, because I gave warnings to sell out once it made the peak. You're talking about 35% on XRP. There's so many others that are much worse, and it's like you have a 40 or 35 to 65% move up in mining stocks, 25% up in silver, 35% up in gold, while the cryptocurrency space is down anywhere from 30 to 50%. XRP is down 35 from the. So if you would have made that same strategic flip, you'd be sitting here right now going, "Oh my God, oh my God," and like we took such good profits in crypto at the top that seeing it transfer now into mining stocks and see where they're playing, it's one of those holy shit. Because once you start to represent and understand the cycles, you start to actually understand like kind of why they would be talking about one sector over the other. But make no mistake about it, the mining sector is going to make a boatload of people very wealthy. 95% of retail has no clue about it. And then the crazy thing is 95% of day traders will lose. If you trade every single day and you don't build into a position, you're going to lose. I could say the same thing for myself, because if you're buying every single day and trying to buy, you get the thing like yesterday. You had bull flag set up for a couple days. You're buying it. You're saying, hey, there's no way I can lose. You go away for a day. You come back to do your next trade and you're down 20%. Or you're down 30%. Or, it just things happen. So I think the biggest thing is you look at the sector of risk assets and then you start looking at gold and silver, you start looking at mining stocks, you start looking at the economic outflow of the world, you start looking at war, tension, and escalations, because that's the single way to print money. The printing presses are at full steam and full power when there's war. That's why we create them. We're not trying to help anybody. We're just trying to keep that money press, the printing press running. But I'm going to stop there because I'm not going to continue talking about that because I'll get banned. But as it goes for crypto, the biggest thing we need to watch right now is Bitcoin dominance is crushing us. It's absolutely crushing us, and it's about to go parabolic again if this continues. There's simply no way for altcoins to do anything of substance while this is happening. This is a catastrophe, what's happening. And yeah, you could argue we're on a rising channel, but where does it end? We broke out. We back tested now. We look to be pushing up in the daily. My estimation was we could go up to 72% even if bearish on a short squeeze up. And that's not because Bitcoin was going up. That's because altcoins would be falling faster than Bitcoin in 75 out of 100 scenarios. In 25 scenarios, Bitcoin's going parabolic. The altcoins are going up, just not as quickly. So There's a lot of things in front of us. All the shorts holding up Bitcoin. Yep. Because every time they get liquidated, it's basically buying the long position on the liquidation closure. And then it ends up coming through after. But this is not a good sign right now. If you're looking for altcoin resurgence, this particular candle is horrible for us. And if this holds this area right here at about 64%, you can almost guarantee yourself a move to 67.5. That means 5% more of all money. So are we looking for a resurgence, or are we looking for the ultimate fake out yesterday and we're just going to continue to go parabolic? I almost think that this is the trap right now being laid, the bull trap on the way back up, because all we're doing is back testing the drop points. Like if I look at the volume portfolio on this Friday, I don't see any. Don't see any. Like, how can this be legitimate if that's the volume portfolio? After a big drop, do you see any substantial there's no volume. The only thing that's happened is the algorithm shut off the sells. That's what I think. I think the trading bots, trading algorithms have shut off the shorts right now for this back test. And I'm telling you right now, if XRP doesn't get back over, and I'm not just saying right here at 217, I'm saying the 200-day right now, you've got to get back over 226. You have to. Otherwise, this could fall off in a very quick way. And we're going to watch this so very damn closely. And we're going to have our expectations. We're going to have our theories. And we're going to have our, let's say, our rough estimate of what we think is going to happen. And then we're going to look at the charts. The charts right now are saying don't panic. Until I get below 209, you can't panic. I'm not going to panic. I never panic. But I want you to understand, if it falls below 209, we've got some work down. Like, we've got some serious work that opens up to the downside. The moment you lose, let's just say 209. If you lose that, you're talking about almost a 30% dump is the possibility on paper to that gap at $1.50. And that's just the way it goes if we don't hold this back test. Now, we haven't given it away yet, so I'm not ready to say it's just given up. But it's like I said in the title, XRP, Bitcoin, and risk assets find danger as war escalates. Gold was up $42. Is a silver and mining squeeze imminent? I think it's going to happen. And when it does with the miners, because some, like I said, some are up 65, like B2 Gold's up 65% since December. The rest of them are up like 35, 45%. Even Barrett's up 35%, which is shocking because it's only sitting at, literally, Barrett Gold sitting at $21.41. That's literally the world's largest gold miner. Hecla Mining up 1% today. I talked about it a lot yesterday when it was at like $5.91. It's crazy. Hecla Mining's the single largest silver producer in the United States of America. They've been around since 1896, and yet the price has been bouncing around in such a way, and they don't pay a hefty dividend. It's a small dividend. But the price has been stuck in the same area. I can seemingly go back for years. Look at this. $4.58 to almost $8, right? Back here, we're at $7.68 back in 22. Came back down to $3.48. Back up to $6.96. Back down to $3.39. Up to $7.68. Back down to $4.40. You see how the range is tightening? If this is a true tightening range, we started an uptrend. And for me, the technical move up would be $10.94 in the interim, the short term. But what I'm seeing develop here is something different with Hecla Mining, and it's only a matter of time. When you're the USA's largest silver producer, eventually, when the silver prices are coming up, all ends are going to meet, folks. And I think this is where they're starting to meet. Like, I think this is a bona fide breakout attempt here. Like, legitimately a bona fide breakout attempt. And you can see how this is. Look at this. Look how that's that's a bona fide breakout attempt trying to back test the uptrend. That's bona fide. And if this happens, we're going up fucking 35% here very quickly. If it doesn't, maybe it consolidates back down and we can continue to buy more. But the miners, I got a gut feeling. And I don't know if we correct a little bit because silver went up to 36, you know? And then when you start looking at the volume on some of these, like look at that volume. See, this is the difference with crypto. Look at this daily volume. Look how high it broke up. Like, do you guys see the difference? Look how the volume is picking up. This is how you corroborate a breakout. You need volume. And now on the back test, notice how the volume crashed out a little bit? That's what you want to see. The selling volume is much less. So this big buy candle was at, was at 54.78 million in one day for Hecla. The sell volume was 14.9 all the way up to 18.3 today. That's nothing compared to this. That's 1/3 the buy volume. This is exactly what you want to see. This is how you validate moves up. Can it break down? It absolutely can. But you're getting validation of volume in the miners. Look at this volume surge the last couple of days. Look at that with Fortuna, 34 million. As to where the sell volume on the back test, 15 million. Not even half. And this is across the board. First Majestic soared in volume. Pan America Silver, not technically, but look at the silver. See this right here? Pan America had a merger and acquisition right there. So yeah, it looks skewed, right? They had a merger and acquisition of another company. Just like First Majestic did earlier in the year. Same thing happened. Now the volume's starting to come back up. Sell volume lowered. Looks like a flag formed. We're much higher than that sell volume because that was all a facade. They had an acquisition. 25 people have left while I'm talking about the mining stocks. That is atrocious. The single biggest pet peeve of mine is how many people could give a rat's ass about miners and precious metals. It's insulting at this point. It's insulting. I've made $30,000 on the way up here, and nobody could give a shit for the most part. A $7,000 portfolio sitting at 53,000 plus right now that I built in about another 10,000 or so while this was happening. So about a $17,000 portfolio is at 53,000 right now. I mean, the amount of people, I mean, look at the, it's just there's so much information. I'm not saying all of my audience. This is why I talk about it. I don't care if there's 5 people watching if I'm giving you the right information. First Majestic, look at that volume spike now. This is when the acquisition happened. I said, guys, we've got a golden ticket. Bounced down here and sold here. Waited for it to come back down. And we're not going to sell again. Who's been around doing all of this? Hell, you could have bought right at 543 with me a week and a half too. When was this? When I rebought back in May 10th. You could have just bought back the support, and here we are. These are breakouts of descending wedges. And now we're back testing the breakout on a big inverse pattern. This is what you want to see. Unfortunately, Jorge, there was over 100, but you know, I started talking about miners, so this is what happens. James said something great. Or Define Group said something great. Thanks for being in Tom's on for 3+ months. He said, Tom, you should know that your recent purchase of the touchscreen was so valuable. The flow of these lives on how you can communicate with the audience is fire. Big difference from before the purchase. I appreciate that so much. I really do, because I had an idea so that I wouldn't have to have all the comments going across, so I wouldn't have to fall out of line. So now I can actually do my technicals, look over and see what I need to see. Yeah, the dragon pattern for XRP is not a facade. It actually is technically in one. I'm just afraid that it's a bearish pattern, but you can see the tail. You can see how it developed. You can see the tail is starting to form. The tail can come through, but we don't want this to be a bearish pattern. Because one could say, well, Tom, maybe, the dragon pattern wasn't formed from below, it was formed from above. I could see both arguments. And you can have bearish patterns, too, that seem bullish. Right now, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about this. Just because of the rising tensions. And the way this set up overnight, this is almost setting up for a big drop over the weekend if this continues. You can buy a whole Big Mac with $10. Indeed, you can. The Cannabis Podcast. Thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XRP Meteor and putting out some invaluable information on the benefits of cannabis, the medicinal purposes, the history, the facts, and just different ways to cultivate. It's amazing. Oh, Pump Master Flash. It is bigger than 21. That's what's crazy about mining stocks. And my problem is, what about quantum computing? Let me ask you guys a real question about crypto and Bitcoin. What happens if quantum computing gets to a point with AI to where it can, and this is my problem. You've got blockchain, which is in a digital blocks, right? What if quantum computing mixed with AI intelligence can now crack the code of mining Bitcoin squares or mining the Bitcoin blocks? Has anybody ever thought about that? What if quantum computing allows us to mine virtual blocks of Bitcoin without actually mining it, and it hacks the system? I've told you guys, I took 75% out of my crypto profits December into January, and I put it into mining stocks. Has anybody, oh, I see some of you have actually thought about what I just said now. That's my biggest thing. I try to think, Jennifer, to stay ahead of the bad stuff in the world. Like I know if I bet against 3 things, I can't lose. 1, the United States. I live in the United States. If I bet against what they're doing, I can't lose. 2, the US dollar, which means I don't have any faith in the US dollar, and by betting against the USA, you can't hold your money in the bank. I have less than $4,000 sitting in my bank account. I have more money sitting on Cash App and silver than I have sitting in my bank account. I have like $7,000, and that's for taxes. But I have the majority of my net worth that is liquid, not in gold and silver, is sitting in mining stocks. I don't trust the US dollar at all. I don't trust the US government. I never have. I don't trust a lot of things. What I do trust is precious metals, real money. I do trust mining stocks because they're the cheapest way to get the metals out of the ground. I don't trust junior miners because I got burned on them. Great Panther Mining was doing me and my brother great things. And then they basically had issues with mines, and they went way down 99% or some shit. So I stay away from junior miners. I try to stay with the dividend payers, except for Fortuna, and I look for a big track record. I own DJT, Tesla, and small gold mining. Be careful with Tesla, because with the introduction of the hydrogen battery, that'll be more efficient. Pay attention to the fuel cell stock. I know it's gone down a lot because hydrogen's not the way yet, but hydrogen batteries are going to completely eliminate electric vehicles. I'm not going to be the first to tell you, but I'm going to be the real one to tell you. The hydrogen battery is getting rid of electric cars in the next 15 years, next 10 years. So crypto adoption. What is Bitcoin? Has always been government plan B, and we've absolutely. Abso-friggin-lutely. Government created Bitcoin. And all it is a strategic way to mask the debt so that they can pay the interest. But listen, when a whole bunch of people, yeah, and don't spam, because if you keep spamming, I'm going to have to put you in timeout, crypto adoption. I can see it, my friend. Oh, only a half a share Tesla, gotcha. Um, Ever consider starting a nonprofit 501c3 to manage your crypto? Wonder how that would work since nonprofits are. You have to buy the right cryptos to do it, though. Like, technically, DGB is a nonprofit, so you could do it from that angle. Now, trying to do it on crypto as a nonprofit with XRP, you're going to run into a lot of legalities. But crypto adoption, I don't mind you sharing it a few times like that. I really don't. Because what you shared is a good point. And you only shared it a couple times. The fact you stopped is fine by me. You guys can share it a couple times to get my attention. I don't mind that. Just don't do it 100 times because then it gets a little, it gets a little spacey. So I appreciate you, crypto adoption, for not only understanding what I was saying and being respectful, but also trying to make sure I see it. But yeah, that's the thing. So when I start looking at quantum computing, I start looking at AI, and I start looking at computer coding and digital blocks, it certainly makes me a little nervous to see that they could artificially mine the blocks. And then if that happens, you basically have a hack a system, and if that does happen, everything goes down very quickly, and then we're gonna have to sit here and be like, oh boy. But Tesla, just my opinion, I don't own Tesla, but I believe it's not a car company. They build cars as a vessel to utilize their technology. I believe Tesla will lead the technology world on the big move. Yes. Okay, granted, but if that's the case, wouldn't you want to own, let's see what the stock name is. I used to own it. Oh, crap, I forgot the name of it. It was an Elon company. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, the SpaceX stock. If that's the case, would you not invest? Okay, so Tesla's way inflated. Where's SpaceX at right now? Because a lot of that technology is being funded into SpaceX. Remember. And back in the day, I used to invest in SpaceX. What the hell was there? But there's more of them. Like Neuralink, you could look at the Neuralink startup. You could look at XAI from 23. But all of these different things, I believe. What the hell was that? I can't remember the name of the stock. Ah, fuck, I can't remember. Oh, and that's the other thing. With the AI and the impending robot thing, do you ever wonder why they're trying to pay $20 an hour for a guy at McDonald's or in the grocery store? The most easily replaceable jobs have no actual skills. Anybody can flip a hamburger and take an order. Anybody can stock a shelf. You know how I know? Because I was doing it at 15 stocking shelves. And I had no skills besides working in a flower shop. And, well, I can't say that. I worked sprinklers with my dad because he had a sprinkler company while being an engineer. So I had to do a lot of work when I was in my 11, 12, and 13 years. That very well might be it. SealsQ defined. That sounds so familiar. I just haven't looked it up in so... Oh, man. This audience is on point. Like, seriously. That's the LAES, right? Are you talking about LAES? Because I have it saved. I believe it's LAES. Defined group is the one you're talking about. LAES. Let me see. LAES. Yeah, that's it. If that's the one you're talking about, that's absolutely what I'm... That's it. It's one that's... Look at this. Unknown. And not too long ago, this had a parabolic spike, but look what it's building. The cup and handle right now as we speak. It's down right now 66%, 65%. This is it. I almost think we should be investing in this as a means to an end. And it's just a matter of where's the best buy. Well, it's fortunate we talked about this today because it's back testing the golden cross right now in the daily. I mean, in the 4 hourly. The daily would back test around 357. We're sitting at 395. Interesting. This is a company I may go out on a limb and buy 1,000 shares. And then if something worse happens, buy more and more. I'm being dead serious. Yes, they do. They work with H-Bar. This was one Define Group. You're 100% on point. There was an announcement about the I don't want to say partnership, but the work that goes on between H-Bar and this particular company. This is something that's so new. And if it does take off, I know it's up. Look how much it's up. I wish we would have talked about it when you could have talked about it, but you know, it was hard to purchase this back early, believe me. It was very hard to purchase this in the beginning. There wasn't a lot of ways to get it when it was at this point, and then it went parabolic. Then it ended up everywhere on these, you know, on the exchanges and the stock exchanges. And for the last 6 months, though, after it became more public for us to buy, look at what it did. It did the common retracement when retail comes in. Yes, the focus on quantum hacking defined. That's exactly why I went to this when you said it. It goes into exactly what I was talking about. Oh, man, this is a nightmare. It's a nightmare, but look on June 12th. SealsQ renews ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 certifications with zero nonconformities, reinforcing commitment to quality, reliability, and stability. So SealsQ, and I know this is sitting on, and I think this one is much easier to purchase now because they started putting it on a lot more exchanges after it had the parabolic run, and then nobody wanted to buy it for a while. As you see, it's down almost 70% from the top. Seals. I don't think you can buy it on Cash App, though. I think this is one that you would have to literally go on the... I would have to go on the JP Morgan trading app, which is where most of my stuff is at. But I could definitely see myself putting a little exposure here. And that would come at the expense of some crypto money, I think. Well, maybe not. USA DAX, I did not. I definitely think I'm going to, well, we'll look at that, but I want to go into this. I just didn't realize I had that much liquid still that I could spend in the mining sector. I haven't used any of it in so long, besides when I was billing in the Hecla. I didn't know I had $5,000 sitting there. I really don't trust the bank. So let's see. SealsQ, let's go into my self-directed. And I do self-directed, so I'm not paying some financial advisor to trade for me. LAES. So LAES. Yeah, they definitely have it on the JP Morgan trading app. It's at $3.94 on there. Let me go to LAES because I don't know if it's on TradingView. Or I mean no, it's not. It's definitely not on Cash App. But it is for 100% on it's on on JP Morgan trading app. So I want to read this. And I know some of you might leave, but guys, if you're understanding what I'm talking about, me too, Define Group, and I could not get it last year because it wasn't on a lot of different things. Believe it or not, it wasn't even on the JP Morgan trading app when it was at 35 and 55. Until it made that big spike, it became public, you know, tradable for the most part. Fidelity's great. I love Fidelity. If I wasn't on the JP Morgan trading app, I would have Fidelity. I have 2 of their emerging market funds. This year, my 7,000 went into 2 separate Fidelity emerging markets. They pay a monthly dividend. Last year, my 7,000 contribution, because I started last year, so I have 14,000. I'm up $900 on these emerging market funds since last year. Not much, but you get the monthly dividend. You're looking for about 10 to 12% on your rate of return. So we're within par. We'll see if we get there. But yeah, Fidelity's a great one. Yeah, I can't argue. And big supporter of Fidelity too. I don't know how many of you are fans of him, but Dave Ramsey, he's a big fan of Fidelity. We love y'all. Got interview at 1. Wish me luck. Had to sell my bag to pay rent. Almost homeless. Barely surviving. Pretty much screwed. Hard times past few months. Got let go from my job. Oof. I'm so sad to hear that, Pump Master Flash. We'll be praying for that interview because definitely we'll put it out there because you definitely need this. And I don't blame you one bit for selling portfolios to do what you have to do. No, a lot of people don't like Dave Ramsey, especially if you don't like Debt Free Living. I happen to support Debt Free Living. I've been through all the bullshit. It's even on Robinhood now, CJ2 Pilot. That's awesome. That is awesome. And Fidelity has it too. Excellent to hear. But yeah, we're going to be thinking of you, Pump Master. Seriously. Seriously, like, we need to put some positive vibes out here to our Lord and Savior so that you get some positive feedback here. A lot of people don't like Dave Ramsey. Dude, the guy comes out here every single day for 20 years for free and literally tells you what you need to do. But a lot of people, he rubs them the wrong way. The guy went from being a millionaire to a broke-aire and back to a millionaire. The best kind of person to take advice from is somebody who's self-made, loses it all, and then becomes remade. Because then they have all of it. But you're not supposed to listen 100% to everybody. Like, not a lot of people like Peter Schiff. I love the guy. Not a lot of people liked Erwin Schiff, his dad. I love the guy. You know, not a lot of people like Jordan Peterson. Love the guy. Joe Rogan, I think he's controlled opposition. Still like how he does interviews, controlled opposition for sure. Most of them are. But there's points to be made. So the Geneva, Switzerland. So the LAES SealsQ are company, a company that focused on developing and selling semiconductors. This is it. Who said this? Define. Dude, like, you know, you're watching the same stuff I am. This is how you stay ahead. So they had the renewal of the ISO, the semiconductors, PKI, and post-quantum technology hardware and software products. Today announced the renewal, and this was on June 12th, 11th. The renewal of its ISO 9001 2015 quality management systems and ISO 14001 2015 environmental management systems. Certifications by AFNOR with 0 nonconformities for a 3-year cycle. This renewal underscores SealsQ's ongoing dedication to delivering high-quality, reliable products and processes while advancing its environmental, social, and governance (ESG) commitments. The renewed certificates will be made available to customers in the coming weeks. The significance of the ISO 9001 and 14001 certifications is the ISO 9001 is the international benchmark for quality management systems, ensuring consistent delivery of products and services that meet customer and regulatory requirements. The renewal of this certification with 0 nonconformities highlights SealsQ France's robust quality controls, rigorous processes, and customer-focused approach, guaranteeing that its semiconductor and cybersecurity solutions adhere to the highest industry standards. The ISO 14001 sets the standard for environmental management systems. I'm sorry that 25 of you left while I was reading this or talking about this, but honestly, the 25 people who missed out on this, it sucks. Just like when I was talking about the miners, it just sucks to not be up and coming with what's coming next for the next chapter. It just sucks when the ability is to have it for free, but we just don't have this. It's not crypto. Who cares, right? The renewal of the certification demonstrates SealsQ France's continued commitment to environmental blah, blah, blah. The important for customers. Proven quality and reliability. ISO 9001 renewal ensures SealsQ France delivery cutting-edge semiconductor and cybersecurity solutions with consistent quality, minimizing risk, and enhancing customer trust. This is vital for industries where precision and dependability are non-negotiable. Sustainable partnerships The ISO 14001 renewal reflects SealsQ's dedication to environmentally responsible. I don't care about all that nonsense. I just care about the fact they're going to be doing what they need to do. The environmental nonsense, we can't change the environment any more than the environment cannot help itself. The environment will fix humans, and it has for millennials. So, you're going to tell me we can fix the footprint when we got a building over here producing more than we'll ever do in a single lifetime in 1 hour? So, you know, we got to stop skewing it, but we can still stay ahead of technology. Like the post-quantum technology is where we're at. Did I not talk about post-quantum computing before I talked about this today? You had to have known I had some kind of directive here today. And I've been thinking about this for a long time, so it's, you know, it's just something. So, just pay attention to this. I'm definitely going to be paying a lot of attention about this, as we have to. This is just something we have to. And I'm adding it to, oh, no, not on the stocks. I want to add it to, let's see. Which one? Not the watch list. I have to put it on here. No, I don't want to put it there. Yeah, you know what? I will. I will. I'm putting it right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it to the top. Right now it's under $4. It's down 7% on the day. And we're trying to figure out where the spot is at. And now it's down 6%. If we're looking at an inverse head and shoulders, you could say it could come all the way down to 275 maybe. That might be pushing it. We're back testing right now. If you look at this from the strategic, remember silver, how we had a cup and handle and now it broke out? Cup, handle. So we're kind of building something like this right now. So if you start looking at, well, that's not exactly correct, but you can see what we're going for. The cup, filling in the handle, and then we'll see. Which means right now, if you're looking at a base setting, technically do something like that. So maybe it does come down. I don't think it's going to come that low. But I do think we could find ourselves in a situation like that possibly. But it looks like it's building the short-term handle, which means anywhere in the handle at the lower end by support is where you want to buy. You say precious metals and mining stocks, you feel crypto is finished. I don't think it's ever finished, but I do think we're in a bear market. So until it proves me we're not in a bear market, I think we're going to go down. Like, that's the reason I talked about data at 0.008. It's the reason why I've talked about theta at like 30-something cents. And it pains me to say that, but I can see this avenue happening. I really can. Like in my wildest dreams that I think theta would end up coming down into this range, I put it down here, but it's hard to believe that it would come back down to there. But it very well could come down into those sections. It's why I've talked about XRP at $1.50 at nauseum. It's why I've talked about Bitcoin at 89 to 91. You know, it's why I've talked about Ethereum at 2100 or worse. Because all these things are lining up, and if we don't get volume breakouts, who cares if we go up? Hold on, my mom's calling. Hi, Mom. How are you? Oh, he slept great. He fell asleep at just before 8 until this morning. Got back on track. Yep. Yes, he did. Yeah. So we had a good day. He's doing good today. I'm just finishing up my live right now. Yeah, I will. Yeah, he's doing good. How are you? Okay. Yeah, let me know how they're doing. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you better get back for Grandpa before then. Well, I'll see you at Grandpa's on Sunday with T, so, with Julie. Okay? Oh, he's going to be perfect. Yeah, he'll be fine. He's going to love it. I think he'll be good there. It'll be a lot different than the last time. Yeah. Yeah. That's what we'll probably do. Yeah. No. Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, Mom, I love you. All right, I'll talk to you later. All right, bye. I never ignore the call from my mom, even if I'm live. Let's see. What's my son's name? Thomas Speaker the Third. Thomas Speaker the Third. We call him T3, little T. But he's my little positive little man. No matter what he's incurred in life, broke his femur at 6 months old. Got a little bit of a head, he hit his head hard too and changed his course, but he's very positive. He's special needs. He's nonverbal. A lot of things went into the trauma. He's got a G2, but he's the most positive kid I've ever seen. He's always happy. And it's a miracle. So we're going to look at I'll keep you guys updated on this. My question is, though, do you wait for it to come up and try to form that second resistance, which we really haven't had yet? Because this is on a breakout. Look at this. So, or do you layer into this if you think it's an opportunity? That's my question to the audience right now. Which directional tug would you take here? Do you wait for it to tap this uptrend again and see if it's legitimate? Do you wait for it to come all the way down here to support at $2.41? Or do you think this is about 70% of the move and this is where it's starting to break out? All legitimate questions. All legitimate questions. Tom, what are your thoughts on a silver miner ETF such as SIL? Not a bad option. Oh, it was? Fantastic. I've thought about it. The only reason I haven't done a silver miners ETF is because I own physical silver and because I own so much of it, I ended up putting that money into different miners that are silver miners instead. Not a bad option, though, because SIL, I believe that's one of them that is almost 100% backed by physical silver. I'm pretty sure. Not backing. I want to do the holdings. Because you always want to look at to see what their holdings are. Whoops. You want to see what they're actually holding. Some silver miners won't just hold silver. They'll hold some other nonsense. But I think the SIL one actually has... its holdings are basically... What the hell? Are physical silver. Yeah, okay, so this is just the silver miner. So I don't know if they have any gold miners in here, though. They were put around in 2010. Distribution, semi-annual. Ooh, their 30-day SEC yield is negative 0.28%. That's pretty interesting. I mean, they're doing good. What's their top holdings? Wheat and Precious Metals, Pan America. So basically what I've done is I built my own ETF. So instead of buying somebody else's ETF, I built my own ETF. I have Fortuna. I have First Majestic. I have Pan America Silver. I have Hecla Mining. I have B2 Gold. I have Barrick Gold as my miners. So I built a 6. And look, Hecla's in here. First Majestic. Wheat and Precious Metals, Pan America Silver. Not a lot of cash, only 0.09. That's fine. That's what I wanted to know. So, yeah, 20.98% is in Wheat and Precious Metals, the one that I wish I had. That's the only one that I didn't buy, and it was at the $50-something range. Well, that and Kinross. But, yeah, they have a lot of similar ones. For sure. This is not a terrible route. Now, SSR is a pretty volatile one. You got a lot of good ones in here. You got a lot of speculative ones here, too. They don't have a lot of cash, which is what I wanted to see. Payable receivables is only 0.03%. Gold Resort Corp. Well, Wheaton's a mixed one, too. But, yeah, not bad, honestly. And thank you for the $4.99 donation. That is not bad. Oh, Jennifer, that's horrible to hear. That your mom passed away when you were 19. Papa Wheelie's been without parents since he was 11 or 12. It's sad to see here. I'm sorry to hear that. That's why I always tell everybody, if you have parents left, never ignore the call. Just accept it. Julie, her dads are alive, but she doesn't really see him at all. He doesn't come around. So, but we miss him. Well, so do I. He's like Beetlejuice. You know, so. Yeah, if you want to know what her dad really looks like, just look at a pansy flower. He really does look like one. So, Mr. let's see, Mr. Arwine, if you're watching, we would love to see you. So, anyhow, that's what I got today. That's what I got. It's been an hour. My son wants me to log off. I would love some feedback on what we've talked about today. Give me some feedback on LES. Besides that, though, I think we've done a good job here. I think we've done a very good job here. We know what to expect. I've given some alternative routes from crypto. Say blessings for the ones who are without their parents, for the ease of comfort, and the ones who are struggling. Make sure we pay attention to Pump Master Flash, as he's got a job interview today. We need to wish him luck and put our best prayers forward because he's been out of a job. And unfortunately, you know, it's a rough time right now to be without. So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed and our prayers high that you land this and that it goes good, or at least if you don't land it, that it brings an opportunity very, very soon. Very, very soon. So remember, with XRP, we're looking at that $2.09. If that breaks, we've got $1.98 and then likely $1.82 or $1.50. With Bitcoin, the moment you have to panic is when we break 99,000. 99,700 right now. If we break that, it's one hop, skip, and a jump down to 89,612. Have a blessed day.